Start our Tram tour now, heading to the back around the grounds.
Check 1, 2. All right. How we doing once again, guys? How we feeling? All right, mi gente, welcome officially to this, your founders experience at Rum Paradise, Casa Bacardi, Puerto Rico. My name, once again, is Arnaldo. You may also call me Arnold as well. I'm going to be your Bacardi and your overall rum expert for this lovely morning at the world's largest premium rum distillery. Now, before we go ahead and begin, a couple of safety rules for our safe enjoyment. Guys, if we are moving, please remain seated at all times. Also, keep your arms and your legs, all of your extremities, no matter how big or small they might be, inside of the trolley at all times as well. Now, you may take pictures, you may take videos as well. We're going to be seeing a lot, of course, but I only ask that you may remain with your devices of silent or vibrate mode, and also remember to have the flashes completely off at all times. Smoking and vaping not allowed in most of the facility, but we do have right here to our right hand side a designated smoking or vaping area. And in case of any and all emergencies, if we get separated from the group, we'll be meeting here at the pavilion or el pabellón. Again, that is in case of any and all emergencies. Now, with the rules out of the way, mi gente, let's go ahead and begin with our legacy, which begins not in Puerto Rico, but of course in Santiago de Cuba. February 4th in 1862. That is when, after many years of experimentation with the distillation process of rum, Don Facundo Bacardi Maso created the world's first light body and smooth body rum known as Bacardi or Bacardi Superior. Now here in Puerto Rico, our journey begins to our right-hand side over at Old San Juan, which we have right over here, after we go ahead and cross the bay. There, the Bacardi family and company opened up an aging and blending facility in 1936. Mind you, mi gente, Bacardi had already began their expansion outside of Cuba to actually become Cuba's first multinational company during the 1910s and the 1920s as well. Entering or firstly introducing themselves to places like New York, for example, Bahamas, and Mexico as well, mi gente. But here in Puerto Rico, our journey, as I mentioned before, begins in 1936. Now, the building that functioned as our first aging and blending facility is actually still standing to this very day. It is known today as the Ochoa Building or the Ochoa Cafe. It's very easy to find the building, guys, because outside of that building, we have right there next to each other a CVS and a Foot Locker. So again, finding that building by yourself is going to be an easy journey, okay? Now, over here at Casa Bacardi, Puerto Rico, our journey begins in 1947. Now, for a transition over here, we didn't acquire just a single building, but 137 acres of land. Hence, what we have over here, known as Rum Paradise, or El Paraíso del Rum. Now, as you're going to be able to notice, immediately here to our right-hand side beyond the fence, we're still expanding our facility, guys. We're continuing to grow right over here. But right now, as of this moment, when it comes to the production of Bacardi rum, we take care of producing the biggest number worldwide. From 85 to 86% of Bacardi's rum comes directly from here, from Puerto Rico. But as I mentioned before, during our transition, we moved through a lot of places. And in 1931, we have our second distillery outside of Cuba in beautiful Ciudad de Mexico. Now, still to this day, Bacardi is found, has a distillery over at Tram, Mexico, producing anywhere from 14 to 15% of our rums. And although it's a distillery that only produces a small amount of 1% of our rums, located all the way over at India, mi gente. With that, we have 100% of Bacardi rum worldwide. Now, our grinds over here today, of course, offer a lot. For example, we have here to our right-hand side the famous Bacardi Family Galleria, a little convention center that now is under renovation. It's going to be a new state-of-the-art bar and also a new aging facility as well. But for the moment, guys, we only use it, again, as a little convention center where we do go ahead and host any event, or where the family, the actual Bacardi family, we're still alive to this day, actually host events as well. Now, that first part, guys, the Bacardi family, which is still alive today and controls the company still to this day. Members of the 5th all the way to the 8th generation of the Bacardi family are the ones taking part in the day-to-day business of the company itself. So that makes Bacardi one of the oldest family-owned spirit businesses in the world. And just a couple of weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, we celebrated our 162nd anniversary, mi gente. So 162 years of making our rums possible. But let's go ahead and begin our journey of that. Exactly, our rum, mi gente. Because right over here, we're gonna go ahead and start entering the back of the house. So we're gonna learn about everything that goes into making our rums possible. So let's go ahead and make our way right over there. Now, guys, when it comes to the production of Bacardi in Cuba during the 1950s, as Fidel Castro rose to power, he little by little pushed away, exiled every single worker, member of the family as well, outside of Cuba, and he actually seized every single asset, building that they own inside of Cuba as well. So without, of course, the legacy of Bacardi within Cuba will cease to exist. So right now, or to be more exact, during the 1950s, well, the transition over here to Puerto Rico is where we continue to make the production of rums that were produced there at Cuba. So, when it comes to making a rum also, guys, we're going to begin our journey kind of from the end to the beginning. I like to call it the Christopher Nolan cut of Bacardi rum, guys, because it's a little bit, out of place, but it's going to make sense, trust me. So, we begin with this building immediately to our left-hand side. This is building Jose A. Gomez. It was named after a former global master blender, Joe Gomez. Now, this is also known as the blending facility, aka also known as the Bacardi laboratories as well. So when it comes to the overall crafting, preparation, and also testing of our rums, every single part of that happens here at this blending facility. So here, let's go ahead and begin, guys. We have the Bacardi laboratories where every single one of our ingredients is going to be tested. Those ingredients being sugarcane molasses, yeast, and demullized water as well. Now we're going to look for the sugarcane molasses. It's going to be the levels of fructose, glucose, the sugar content inside of the molasses. When it comes to the yeast, we're going to go ahead and cultivate it right here because it's a very delicate strain of yeast that right now the only strain of it surviving is kept by our company. So the yeast today is known as Bacardi yeast, guys, okay? And then the water, well, guys, we're gonna make sure it has no minerals in it. We want it to be completely clean and, well, without any minerals, guys, okay? Now, we also have the blending facility where the team of blenders and master rum blenders are gonna take two bases of raw alcohol and blend them, craft them into every single expression of Bacardi prepared right over here at Puerto Rico. And then we also have our testing or tasting facility where our rum experts are going to go ahead and test rum that is in the final phases of being completed. And they're going to make sure that the rum is consistent in terms of color, aroma, and flavor as well. So guys, again, when it comes to overall experimentation, the testing of our rums, everything's going to happen here at Building Joe Gomez. Now here, to our left-hand side, we have our holding tanks. As you're going to notice, there's a lot of holding tanks right over here. Now, what we have right over here could be rum that is waiting to be blended by the master blenders and turned into Bacardi rum. It could be rum that is already blended. It's only waiting for the final go-ahead and, the final clear so it can be shipped over to Jacksonville, Florida, where we have our bottling facility. Or rum that has to be corrected. If the rum tasters notice that the rum is off in any of those aspects that I mentioned, has to be rectified, has to be corrected. So that rum is going to be held here, and then it's going to be either, aged again, it's going to be blended again, or again, it's simply going to be corrected with any other of our ingredients. Aging, guys. Right over here to our right-hand side, go ahead and take a deep breath. That is sweet, delicious American white oak barrels that we have right over there. And of course, since they were used before for 3 or 4 years, you can notice they still have very nice aroma to them. Now, what were they aging before they came over here? Well, bourbon or American whiskey, mi gente. For around 3 to 4 years, those barrels were used for that. So where do we get them from? Mi gente, you might know them or even enjoy them. Jack Daniels, Jim Beam, and Angel's Envy, just to name a few, are those distilleries where we're gonna go ahead and get those barrels from. Now, when they arrive to our facility, as you notice right over here, those barrels are going to be treated. They're going to be cleaned with steam and hot water because that whiskey is still left inside. And at the first initial aging process of our rums, you don't want any outside flavors or any flavors of the spirits or liquors interfering with the aging of our rums. Now, if you do, for example, a double aging technique, having those flavors right there at the beginning is something that we're going to need and something that we're going to go ahead and look for. But at the first phase, nothing outside is going to go ahead and affect the flavors of our rums. All the flavors are going to come directly from the yeast, the sugarcane molasses, and then the aging within the barrel as well. So it comes down to the aging, the proof of alcohol, and also and the most important part, the place where you are fermenting from. To make rum possible or to be classified as rum, the number one rule, the unbroken rule, is going to be that whatever thing you're gonna ferment, it has to be sugarcane. You know, it has to come directly from the sugarcane, to be more exact. Yes, it's sugarcane. For tequila, it's gonna be agave, so on and so forth. But for rum, it's gonna be pure sugarcane, guys. Okay. Now, right over here, we have a better view of the holding tanks right over here. But at the end, in the middle, you're gonna notice that Dana tanker right there. That is gonna go ahead and take our rums that has been completed and take it over to the port of San Juan. And from there, it's gonna be shipped all the way over to Jacksonville, Florida. Because you see, we did have a little bottling facility right over here, but little by little, we start to see that it was not, you know, very cost effective. And then in 2017, we have the passing of Hurricane Maria that completely destroyed our bottling facility. So after 2017, 100% of the bottling for Bacardi rum takes place at Jacksonville, Florida. Now, 100%, well, minus 1%, guys, which is going to be our house exclusive, okay? Now, after we go ahead and cross from this area, we have more of the aging facilities, the aging warehouses right here. You're going to be noticing the tractors with the holding the barrels right there. Now, these barrels have already been cleared, have already been cleaned with steam and hot water, so they're going to begin their journey to age our rums, or to be more specific, are 2 different bases of raw alcohol. Now, those 2 bases are known or referred to as the heavy flavor base, aguardiente, or the light neutral base known as redistillate, okay? So here we have the entrance of the barrels to our right hand side immediately, where the barrels are going to be filled with those 2 bases. After that process has happened, those tractors are going to move to any of these warehouses that we have right over here. And we're going to go ahead and make that journey to this warehouse 3A that we have to our left hand side. Now, once the rum has completed its aging process, they're going to be emptied in this area. And then here we're also going to go ahead and make sure that the barrels are, well, are going to maybe be used or reused again. And I say maybe because if you go ahead and age a rum, for example, 8+ years, well, the flavors left for the barrel to give out to another batch of rum is going to be very low. You're going to have a little bit more acidity coming from the barrel. Of course, something you don't want to be, or to, you know, make its place into the rum. Yes, it is. Yes, all of our rums are going to be aged right there. Now, it all comes down to if it's going to be double filtered. For Bacardi Superior, the white rum, that it's going to be having a double filtration process. The second one, or the last one, being the one where we get rid of the color completely, because it does come out with a little bit of color, very light yellowish color to it. Now, in this area, we don't produce rum anymore, guys. This is for the employees of Bacardi to go ahead and unwind after a long days of work. Basketball court for the employees, a little gazebo for activities as well. Employee gymnasium to our left-hand side. Again, just a place for us to go ahead and enjoy our little time off, or a little downtime as well. But again, I'm gonna go ahead and make a quick little turnaround right over here so we can enter warehouse 3A and, you know, see a little bit closer to how we do our things right over here. So it all comes down to how long you're gonna age your rum. It's also gonna depend on the position of the barrels as well. But most of the flavors are gonna be produced by white oak, are gonna be, and also for because of the sugarcane molasses, they're gonna be derivatives of caramel, vanilla, honey, things like that. Yeah, they're gonna be very sweet. Now there are rums, if you don't age them for a very long time, they're gonna be having light notes of spiciness, like cinnamon and eve cloves as well, maybe. But it all depends. We're gonna go ahead and actually notice that as we come over here to warehouse 3A, just one of 16 warehouses that we have right over here. Mientras, you're gonna notice that these warehouses right here are huge. So please mind your step as you begin onboarding, guys, little by little. Yes, please. You're gonna be super close.